speaker today is Unicaf Tutor Dr. Ursula Schinzel, who is an independent multicultural and multilingual teacher who speaks 7 languages. Dr. Ursula holds a doctorate in business administration and began her teaching career after more than 20 years in the banking sector and industry. Before Dr. Ursula starts the presentation, I would like to inform you that you can use the question and answer tool at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation. You can comment, you can ask questions, and throughout we will address these questions and at the end as well. In the meantime, Dr. Ursula will be having some questions for you, and I will be giving permission for you to speak and respond so that we make this presentation more interactive and more interesting. So, Dr. Ursula, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ria, for this nice presentation. And thank you for giving me the opportunity and the honor to speak here in the name of Unicaf. Unicaf is a life-changing experience. It's an mainly online university. And with the pandemic, we have the possibility, the opportunity to have webinars, different kind of webinars. And after having presented about time management and responsible leadership, today the subject is different leadership styles. So this is, as Ria introduced, very interesting, and it is going to be an interactive webinar. So don't go away, don't fall asleep. Stay with us because you will be asked from on the first slide on and to participate, and so that we have a discussion among professionals. So different leadership styles. The different leadership styles we are going to see today: autocratic leadership, bureaucratic, charismatic, transformational, democratic, participative, laissez-faire, transactional, inclusive, narcissistic, strategic, operational, network, and responsible leadership. So it's a lot, and it's going to be very exciting. So I'm also very much interested in your comments and your participation. So there are many ways to finish the sentence, leadership is. So can we hear from some of the participants how would you finish this sentence?
All right, let me see a few hands raised so that we can give permission to whoever wants to respond to the question, leadership is. Okay, let me unmute Tahir.
Yes.
Hi, Tahir, can you hear us?
Yes, and are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. So leadership is a connecting sports. As a leader, the first thing you need to have is to connect with different people, including your subordinates, your teammates, your managers, your senior manager and CTO. So in a nutshell, leadership is connecting sports. You need to connect with people. You need to connect in a way that you carefully listen what your higher management's vision for a task, for a project, and you need to connect with your subordinates to share the vision and to get the results, and then need to work. So it's a sports, and and you need to command on this sport by connecting people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tahir. Thank you. Would you like to respond to that, Dr. Ursula, or should we move on to Ephraim?
We move on to Ephraim, yes, please.
All right, let me unmute Ephraim. Let's just give him a few seconds. And let me see a few more hands. Ephraim, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Leadership is influencing a group of people to uh, to to make uh, to make the objective uh, to the end.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. So to make the objective until the end. Okay, very good. Ria, shall we continue?
Yes, please.
Shall we proceed? Okay. So the definition of leadership following Jacobi is there's only one irrefutable definition of a leader, and this is someone people follow. So let's go and discuss one of the leadership styles, the autocratic leadership. It is authoritarian, mostly used in the military and in politics. And some examples are Adolf Hitler or Napoleon Bonaparte. And I would like to ask you, do you have any examples? Do you have any experience with people around you being autocratic or authoritarian? Ria, can we hear from
Let
some
me see
participants?
hands. Let me allow Willis to respond. Let me unmute Willis 1 minute. Let me see a few more hands, please. And I will give you permission to speak. Willis, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
We
Hello.
can hear you. Yes.
You can hear me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I can talk of President Trump of USA.
Okay.
President Trump.
Yes,
Yeah,
Willis.
that's.
Do you also know it does not necessarily need to be a president or in politics. It can
Yeah.
also be around yourself, in your
Yes.
company, in your private life or
Yeah.
so. Do you know anybody there who is authoritarian?
Yeah, there are different people that I know that they somehow force for things to happen in a particular setting. I've worked different with people that are forced things, it's their way, you have to follow their way. So they don't allow another person to come in and maybe suggest. So you'll have their own, their way, So if they say that this is the decision I've made, no one will try to come up with other ideas. So I think that's a scenario that sometimes you realize when you're working with different people. So it's always their way, not other people suggestion.
Thank you very much. All right.
Okay, do we have anybody else?
Anybody else who would like to respond to Dr. Ursula's question? Raise your hands, please. Let me see if somebody wants to speak. We can, okay, yes, Tahir.
Okay, so as shared in the first slide, there are a lot of leadership styles, and I think in later part of the presentation, doctor will share us what will be, a best suited exercise. But sometime I, as a lead, become autocratic, and as per my understanding, I need to not need to more autocratic to my subordinate. I need to share the vision, and rather than rather than forcefully ask them to do things, I need more maybe bureaucratic, no, not bureaucratic. We can learn by this presentation which will be the best style, but as per my understanding, I myself do not need to be autocratic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We also have Elmer who would like to speak. Let me unmute Elmer. Can you hear us, Elmer? I think Elmer, can you hear us? Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, from the Philippines. For me, if we say authoritarian leadership, we are being a leader. We have the basis to become a leader, and of course, we are the authority to give command for those people you are under. So that's it, authoritarian leadership.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Let's move
Shall
on,
we
Dr.
proceed?
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So let's move from the autocratic leadership to the bureaucratic leadership. It's about administrative leadership. It's used mainly in the office for people who are working together, the organizational effectiveness. And some examples would be Harold Sidney Janine, President of International Telephone and Telegraph Corporation. It's like managing by the book to enforce the rules. And yeah, it's more. Let's move on to the charismatic transformational leadership. It is about inspiration and motivation. It empowers others through trust and to face challenges with exciting future vision and strategy. And some examples here are the Steve Jobs, the founder and CEO of Apple, and Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Atlantic Group. Looking at the democratic participative leadership, it is about a high level of satisfaction. It's team member oriented. It's highly productive, but slow decision making. So for example, Jack Stahl, the president of Coca-Cola, and then he was CEO of Revlon, or Jim Lenz, chief executive officer of Toyota Motor North America. Now, laissez-faire leadership. This is a non-authoritarian and non-interference leadership style. It gives the complete freedom and responsibility. And examples are Warren Buffett, the American investor, or Chief Steve Jobs, founder and CEO of Apple. And this is here where I would like to ask you if you have any examples for laissez-faire leadership.
Alicia would like to talk, and in the meantime, let me see more hands raised, please. Thank you, Alicia.
No, actually, no. I think by mistake I touched. I just arrived. Sorry, I'm handling a project right now.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, maybe later. All right. Anybody else would like to respond to Dr. Ursula's question of examples of this type of leadership? Maybe we can hear from Willis, who has raised his hand. Hi, Willis.
Yeah, I think for me, maybe when I talk about myself, I love giving people opportunity and room for them to express who they are and do what they feel is best. And so I love giving people opportunity and without interference, without controlling, and so that they can bring out their potential, and the ability that they have. So I love giving people freedom just to express who they are and the abilities that they have. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's hear from Elmer.
Yes, good evening again.
Hi.
For this kind of leadership, there is a good bonding between the managers and their people. They can give their opinion to their bosses without any interfere, without any what do you call that? They're open. They're open to give their opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. I see that Teresita would like to respond. Let me unmute Teresita. Can you hear me, Teresita? All right, let me try one more time to unmute, but it won't unmute you for some reason. Let's hear from Tahir. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. So one of the examples is Dr. Ursula. So, yes, I attended I attended a lot of seminars. There is
Thank you.
yes. So so you need, for example, for this webinar or normally in various webinars, Dr. Ursula allowed other person to speak rather than speaking herself again. So what I seen that because this is also required courage. So and provide opportunity to the other person during this event. So even it's a 1 hour event, Dr. Ursula is leading that. She is the leader of this particular webinar, but she's allowing different people to speak and sharing the knowledge. So I think there are some of the aspect Dr. Ursula is sharing of this type of leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taya. This is very kind. I'm very much honored and really surprised. Thank you so much. Thank you
very
much.
nice words. Very nice words you hear, Dr. Ursula. We
Yes,
have Fayowole who wants to respond to the question. Let's see if we can give him access.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to, hi, good morning.
Good morning, ma.
How are you?
I'm fine, ma.
We can't hear you. Would you like to respond to Dr.?
Yeah, I just want to contribute because I just came in now. I would like to have the question so that I can fresh my opinion towards it.
You want the question repeated?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so can you give an example for laissez-faire leadership? Do you know anybody in your surroundings who is a leader leading by laissez-faire so that you let people do what they want?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Hello?
Yes, so do you know anybody who is like that?
Yes, ma. Yes. Actually, yes, there is. The immediate past president of Nigeria, which is the ex-president Goodluck Jonathan in Nigeria, is a good example of a laissez-faire president. He gives ears to people's opinion, to listen to their opinion before acting. Not like this current president we have in Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari, who is the autocratic leader. He didn't listen to people's opinion. He all does all what he likes. He doesn't care if people are dying, if people are suffering. It doesn't concern him. He only acts upon his own degree as if he's a dictatorship leader. So I can categorically say that President Goodluck Jonathan, the ex-president of Nigeria, was a good example of a laissez-faire leader.
Thank you, Fayowole. Thank you very much. Very interesting indeed. Yes.
I think we should move on, Dr. Ursula.
Yes.
And
Okay.
in the meantime, let me see a few more hands raised. This is a very good crowd. Teresita will try to give you the opportunity to speak to to respond to the next question. And let me see some more little blue hands, please.
So then there is also the transactional leadership. It's about reward and punishment method. And the main objective is to keep workers at duty. It's order and structure, and examples are the military or large international companies, NFL coaches, Charles de Gaulle, Joseph McCarthy. And we have the inclusive leadership. It's about inclusion and diversity. It gives equal opportunities and allows, shares, invites different perspectives. For example, McDonald's CEO Steve Easterbrook, Deloitte, Salesforce, and Google, Procter & Gamble, and Facebook. And narcissistic leadership. This is where I would like to have some more input from your side about people who are narcissistic. They are obsessive, productive, not listening, and they have the precise vision of how things should be, and only them. So it's me in the middle of the universe, like the fixed picture shows. And some examples are Bill Gates, Andy Grove, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Jack Welch, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford. And maybe you have some more people as examples in your surroundings, among your friends or family or company. So let's listen to your experiences.
All right, let's try to see if we are able to give Teresita the opportunity to speak. There's something wrong with unmuting and muting the specific participant. All right, let me see more hands. Who wants to respond to Dr. Ursula's question? This is actually a very interesting leadership style, and I would be very interested in knowing what people
your experiences
think.
exactly.
Yeah. So I see 3 hands raised. That's from Willis, Teresita, and Payo Wole, who just spoke. Let me try to unmute Willis. Willis, would you like to respond?
No, I think I didn't raise, but I have no idea about that. Yes.
All right, that's because it was raised from before.
Okay. Maybe there was a mistake.
Okay,
No worries. But if you think about somebody who puts himself in the middle of everything, you don't have any example among your friends, or you could say, oh, that my neighbor, or I don't know, somebody? Willis?
Yes, I think I have an idea. Yeah. What about I don't know if it's resonant to this question. For example, maybe in your family, sometimes maybe your wife will want something to be done. Maybe in such a scenario that I say that I think this is how it should be done, and sometimes find push and pull. So in a healthy manner, whereby you can use this kind of leadership in a healthy manner to produce results that you desire, though in a healthy scenario. So what am I saying is that not in a negative way, but you can use this kind of leadership style to produce results. Yeah. So it can be in a family setting, sometimes something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Willis.
Thank you very much.
Before we proceed, I would like our participants to send questions through the Q&A tool at the bottom of the screen. We will be asking these questions throughout the presentation and, of course, in the end. So please share your questions with us. And I think we should proceed now, Dr. Ursula, and whoever wants to speak, you can raise the little blue hand, and we would be very, very happy to hear from you.
So what I think is interesting also is that Steve Jobs is mentioned here, while he was also mentioned earlier. So I thought that was really interesting because we mentioned him also at the laissez-faire leadership. And he is again mentioned as a narcissistic leader. So it is possible that some leaders have several heads. Now they can be narcissistic and laissez-faire at the same time. So I think that is really something that astonished me and us when we prepared for the webinar. So let's go on with the next leadership style, strategic leadership. I like that one very much because it is about a vision, the power of vision. I'm also teaching strategy and planning for Unicaf, so I like that one very much because you need, as a leader, also Michael Maccoby says, you need to have a vision. If you don't have a vision where you are going to, it is very difficult to be a leader. So strategic leadership communicates a vision, and there is a sense of purpose, something, yeah, you set a direction, you design the organization, and then you nurture the culture dedicated to excellence and ethical behavior. And some examples are Lee Iacocca, Steven Spielberg, and Bill Gates. So I think that is really a wonderful leadership style, the strategic one. Then we have the operational leadership. It builds the organization. It infuses the energy that transforms visions into results. So before we talked about the vision that we have in the strategic leadership, and now we talk about the results that come from these visions. Because mainly these leadership styles are made to get to a result, yeah, to have an outcome. And some examples are Richard Branson of Virgin Group. Okay, now the network leadership. Network leadership is bridge building. It facilitates understanding and trust. It turns specialists into collaborators, and we have the examples like Cisco and Microsoft. And you see that you have the leader and the peer and the middle managers, the line workers, they all engage, learn, align, participate, co-create. Okay, also the stakeholders who are outside of the organization. Now, we had one webinar, one separate webinar about responsible leadership. And this is one of the leadership styles that I really cherish a lot. It is about responsibility. Responsibility in everything you do, and especially in three domains. That is the economic, the social, and the ecologic domain. So you have a responsibility in the economy. So of course you have to make money and profit. And in the social and in the human domain, in the human resources, and the ecology. So the environment, do not destroy the environment, but protect it. And here are some examples like Nelson Mandela and Henry Ford. And I'm very much interested now, and Ria as well, to hear about some of your responsible leaders in your environment, in your area, in your domain. So let's listen about what you can share with us, please.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ursula. Let me unmute Jacinta. Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hi, we can hear you. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm from Singapore, but I think a good responsible leader is Jacinda Ardern.
Yes.
Yeah, because she's someone who really cares about her people, and she's very inspiring. She's the kind of leader that people look up to precisely because of the way she cares for them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, but this is very interesting. And do you have? She is a politician. She is a president. Now, do you have somebody in your nearer environment? Let's say close by to yourself.
There are a few leaders in my country who they don't embody all the different economic, social, and ecology type of leadership, but some of them do care about the environment. Some of them seem to care for their constituents.
Because I could, for example, give one example for myself. In my country, we have a supermarket. And the supermarket, of course, you also have, everybody has a supermarket, but our supermarket, he says, okay, we educate the children to know where the milk comes from. And we also buy forests and we plant trees, or other examples, we buy local apples to support our local farmers. So do we have maybe another example in that direction, Jacinta?
There are a few people, but offhand I can't remember their names.
Mm-hmm.
We have some politicians in Singapore who, some of them, they will lobby for disadvantaged groups like single mothers, for abandoned animals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But offhand, you want me to give names? I can't remember their names.
No names. I don't need names, so we don't want to have the names. We just want to see if you have any examples. It doesn't need to be politicians. It can be also my friend or my mother or my father. He is a good leader because he really leads the family or into the good direction also. If you have any idea in that, yeah, that was my.
Okay. Sorry, Jacinta. Yes.
I'm finished.
Thank you.
Thank you
for contribution.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Tusime Monique.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sister Monica Tusime. I am in South Sudan. I have a good example of responsible leadership, and I have two examples so far that have inspired me in my life. First of all, I have an example of my parents back at home. When I was growing up, my dad used to tell us that you have to make sure as a child, at least you have a container of flour in the compound, that even when you have gone to school and you come back, you have something that you feel you are missing back at home, despite of missing the parents and the other properties at home. And me, to that, I feel it is something that raised me with the kind of, I should leave something always in the home compound for me to be remembered and for me to be responsible for raising that flower and taking care of that flower. And also, right now I'm in a school environment whereby in my previous school I'm working as academic dean, and I love the way the work is done here in the school. When I give the example of the principal of the school, he encourages the students time to time to plant trees. South Sudan is the place that is dry, it has a long period of dry season whereby if we don't take care of this environment, then we experience a kind of wind, and in a process it can easily change or damage the school properties like buildings, like classes. So time to time, the principal of the school encourage the students to plant trees. We have environmental club, which is composed of a group of students. We have the students who are in charge of environment in the school. So you can see like the students are engaged in taking care of the environment, watering these trees to make sure at least they are growing up, and it creates the beauty of the school compound. That's that's what I can give as a responsible leadership example. Thank you.
This is a wonderful story it's a wonderful experience that you share here, and I'm very happy that you told it. It comes in line with what I just said about the supermarkets we have here, who plants trees and so, and who also buys the local honey to make the bees, so that we have bees again and so on. So that is really very good, very interesting what you say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have Firewalla who would like to add something. Let me unmute Firewalla, and then we can move on to the next slide. We can hear you.
Thank you for hearing my view. So my little contribution is just to talk about my mother. She has always been a good example of a good leader, because I could remember readily when we are very young, at the age of like 13, she normally told us that we should remember that whatever situation we find ourselves, we should be kind to people, irrespective of how they have played, like impact our life, whether positive or negative. Whatever people have done to us, we should always be kind to them in return, because whatever you sow, you are going to reap. And in addition, she always makes me to remember that I'm from the Urbana area. So for me, keeping my heritage strong and alive, I have to protect the community. Like, make sure I always advocate for the cleaning of the ocean, making the water body to be always clean, because that is where we always appreciate. Like, the community depend on their source of income, because majority of my people, they are all fishermen, they are artisanal fishermen. But to be frankly speaking with you, I dream of making the community clean and making the ocean clean, like advocating for ocean cleanage and making people to understand the hazard that is in it when the ocean is being like disposed with dirty and other unused wastage and chemical and food wastage that are being released into the ocean. So as a child, since then, I got to understand that we are part of the ocean and we are part of the community, because wherever you met yourself is where God has ordained you to be. However you put that community is how your life will speak of you. What I'm trying to say is that in return, you are still going back to the soil. So if you do not prepare the soil for a better place to rest, it's going to hurt you badly. So I have taken it upon myself to go to study oceanography, so that I could have more knowledge about the ocean and to advocate for my people in the Urbana area to have more knowledge about keeping the ocean clean and safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Willie. Thank you very much.
I think we should proceed, Dr. Ursula.
Yes,
and I have a couple of questions I would like to ask you coming from our participants. Let's proceed, and I'll do that in a few minutes. In the meantime, everybody, please be encouraged to send through your questions, and Dr. Ursula will respond to them. If you want to comment or ask something, you can also raise the blue little hand. And I hope we hear from all of you. Okay, we can proceed.
Okay. So, what did we learn here? We are already at the conclusion. Leadership is not, and I repeat it, not management. A leader is someone people follow, and different situations require different leadership styles. So this is interesting, and I would like to ask a question. What leadership style do we need in times of crisis like the current pandemic?
It's a very interesting question, Dr. Ursula. Very
Yes,
question.
maybe if we find the solution, then we get a Nobel Prize.
Yes.
Today.
Okay, let's see if anybody has yes, what it takes for a Nobel Prize. Let me hear from you.
Unicaf.
Yes. All right. In the meantime, let me go through the comments and questions until people raise the blue little hand to respond to this very, very interesting question. All right. Yeah, I think I'll keep the questions
for later?
For the end, yes.
Yeah.
I can see Paiwole who wants to respond, and Elmer. Let us give the opportunity to Elmer to respond. We can hear you.
Yes, good evening again.
Hi.
I think, yes, I think it depends on the country.
Yes.
In our country, in the Philippines, just like in the Philippines, many of our citizens here in the Philippines are very, I think, may I say, they are hard-headed. Why? Because they are not following the health protocols regarding pandemic. That's why overflowing. It is already overflowing regarding cases of COVID here in the Philippines. Maybe an autocratic one will be a good one.
An autocratic one?
Yes. Because of the many citizens here in the Philippines are hard-headed. They are not following the health protocols regarding pandemic. That's why there are so many filed cases in courts regarding not following the health protocols. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elma.
Thank you. Would you like to respond, Dr. Ursula, or should we proceed to?
We proceed.
All right. Let me allow Ephraim to respond to this question. Hi, Ephraim, we can hear you.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Hi.
Hi. The answer is we need a responsible leadership style, like Tedros Adhanom in the WHO director. The WHO director, and the style should be responsible leadership style.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ephraim. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we have a lot of hands raised.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let me allow Tahir to respond.
Yes. So we need one of the aspect is we need to share the vision why during the COVID as a government, as a city, what things we need to do. So one of the leadership thing is strategic leadership. Communicate the vision that to save ourselves, we need to save others. So some bit from strategic leadership, some from the bureaucratic, because we need to follow the books, that virus will not spread if we, use the mask. So we need, hybrid and responsible leadership as well. So we need hybrid model to fight with this COVID and this situation. Thank you.
All right. The last one is Fayowole. Let's hear his response as well, and then we move on.
Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
So I like have the idea of letting us to have a laissez-faire leadership style, because it's going to enable a leader to listen to the opinion of other community members who have idea how to strategize themselves to contain the pandemic. That is my opinion.
It was very difficult for me, Fayowole, to understand. Do you think, excuse me, please, to repeat what you just said, if you don't mind?
Okay, ma'am. I say it will be better. My opinion is for us to I would like to choose a laissez-faire style of leadership to contain this pandemic, because a laissez-faire leader is a kind of person who listens to the opinion of people. So by listening to the opinion of other people, we enable such a leader to strategize his or herself to contain this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
You.
So
Okay.
laissez-faire, huh? Laissez-faire leadership style. Okay.
All right. I think
we have Willis.
Yes, we have Willis. Let's hear from Willis before we move on.
Yeah, just a quick one. I think for me, with this kind of question, you can use different leadership styles. Like one, you can use a charismatic leadership in terms of inspiring people, because people need to be inspired. There is a lot of discouragement, a lot of hopelessness and despair. And so if you can use that kind of leadership just to inspire and motivate people, people will really resonate with that. And then the second leadership style you can also use with this kind of question, it's responsible leadership in terms of leading the way in terms of leading people on areas that you can put in place to mitigate the things that they can do, employ, or engage to overcome the crisis that people are going through, in terms of providing, like let's say, sanitation as far as the environment is concerned. So I think you can use different leadership styles as far as the current pandemic. Yeah, that's my take.
Thank you very much, Willis. So different leadership styles. Okay, Ria?
Dr. Ursula, would you like to proceed? No, I think we should proceed, and I'll be asking.
The proceed is thank you very much.
Yes, that's yes.
So we have now 12 more minutes for questions and answers.
All right. I have a few questions for you, Dr. Ursula. This one is from Tahir. As a leader, how can I show more patience and not show anger to subordinates, even if what the subordinate is doing is wrong during a meeting?
Huh. Okay, and another Nobel Prize answer.
And question.
Yeah. Yeah. This is indeed difficult to answer. Yeah, it is sometimes you have to swallow, relax, inhale, exhale several times, not to get angry or mad. Of course, yeah, it is very difficult collaboration, and more in this time of pandemic, people get aggressive, they are impatient, and yeah, it is more patience is very difficult to get. You can do some yoga, you can do some respiration exercises, but it is indeed not easy. So that is my answer. It is not a good answer, but it is an answer. I'm sorry.
Thank you. So how can a leader audit himself? Normally, we cannot ask our subordinates to provide feedback. So what things we did wrong as managers. Is it okay if we ask subordinates or colleagues to provide feedback on our leadership style in a professional environment?
Yeah, leaders always are afraid of having an assistant who maybe is better than them. But it is not such a bad idea to have somebody that you confide in, that you really trust, and this person helps you, or not only one, but several people who observe you and you collaborate, and then you discuss how to improve. So it's about teamwork and to trust somebody else, but most people are afraid because then this person could take their position, of course. But it is good to discuss whoever it is. Some people take their spouses, the husband or the wife, or a good friend to discuss these things. And yeah, it is very important to get feedback. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. This one is from George. I think it is perfectly possible to switch from one kind of leadership to a different one if your common goal seems not to be reached because of bad will from participants. In addition, he says that he has two examples of leaders. One is JFK, and the other one is the leader of the national movement Ecologic. So the comment is that we can switch from one kind of leadership to the other if a common goal is not reached. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, absolutely. The common goal is always also set in the country. So if in the country or in the company or in the family, in the group, you have a common goal, then of course the leadership style can be adapted, and that is what we already heard also from Tahir and also from Willis, that we need to have a hybrid model, or to use different leadership styles. So yes, indeed, I think that is absolutely possible. And we have seen that before, Ria, when we talked about Steve Jobs, who was laissez-faire leader on the one hand, and also narcissistic leader on the other hand. Yes, indeed.
Yes, I think this also connects to the question that Mustafa has raised. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were mentioning different leadership styles. Is this due to their use of situational leadership?
Yes, exactly. So we have different situations, or like we already heard also about the Philippines from Elma, that it depends on the country. So it's about the country or the group or the company that you are in, and you use the situational leadership style. Yes.
Great. One question from personal. How would you call a leader that believes he's never wrong?
Well, yeah, that is very difficult. That is very difficult to answer. There are some people indeed who think they are always right and never question themselves. From experience, it is good to accept also criticism and to proceed and improve. When you always think that or believe that you're always right, then you do not really progress, don't you? because it is by making errors that you progress.
All right. From Aizul, is there a special method to know which leadership style works best in certain situations or certain times?
Yeah, yeah. It is good to think to think it over before the situation, or during the situation, or while you are in the situation, to be empathetic and to think it over, and then to adapt your leadership style. But it is also sometimes it is not really possible, but it depends on the goals that you have. In some situations you need to be authoritarian, and in other situations you need to be laissez-faire. So you adapt to the situation. Yes.
All right, we're getting to the end. So which book would you recommend for our participants to read, and how can someone grow as a leader? What activities do they need to do to grow as leaders?
I really like very much Michael McCoby. He has written several books about leadership styles, and also one about narcissistic leadership, and about strategic intelligence. So I recommend you start with Michael McCoby, and of course there are other very good books from North House about leadership styles. You can Google, you go to the computer and you Google, and you will find a lot of YouTubes and so, and books. Yeah, but I really like Michael McCoby.
Great. One last comment from Famara. She wants to thank you for the webinar, and she says that it's very impressive, imperative to know different leadership styles. She is asking for a quick recap for the presentation, but let me tell you that we will be sending you a recording to all participants that have stayed for more than 30 minutes. There will be a certificate as well as the recording of today's webinar, so don't worry about that. In addition, there are quite a few of you who are asking, who have attended previous events, and they're asking about their certificates. Please send an email to marketing@unicaf.org. That's marketing@unicaf.org. But you should know that the certificates are awarded to those that have stayed for more than half an hour in the webinar. This is before we close the webinar. I don't know if Dr. Ursula wants to add something or comment something before I end this webinar.
Willis asks if your personality affects your leadership style. Yes, of course it does.
Oh, right.
Because you cannot not separate yourself from yourself. So some people can do that, but they never succeed a long time with it, because you have your own, as you say, personality, and it is difficult to keep the cinema, as I say, the movie going for a long time. So yes, of course, your personality really influences the leadership style.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ursula. Thank you, Elmer and Tahir, and for your kind words. And Isaac, yes, we will share the recording. So before I end this wonderful webinar that Dr. Ursula has presented, I want to take 1 minute to inform you about Unicaf and who we are. Unicaf is the biggest online platform offering undergraduate and postgraduate degrees at a fraction of the cost. We offer very, very high scholarships, and this helps people that don't really have access to higher education. These scholarships are a way of giving underprivileged people the ability to study online through Unicaf and partner universities in the UK, such as the University of Suffolk, Liverpool John Moores University, and the University of East London. We have the African Unicaf University, which is accredited in various countries. And we would like to invite everyone to go to our website, www.unicaf.org, if any of you would like to pursue further education at a very affordable and flexible environment. Please don't hesitate. Once again, I would like to thank all of you for joining today's webinar, and I would like to thank Dr. Ursula Schinzel for a job very well done as usual. And be alert for the next webinars we are organizing. Thank you very much, Dr. Ursula.
Thank you very much, Ria, for another wonderful webinar experience. And to the participants, don't hesitate enrolling in Unicaf for MBA or doctorate. It is really a life-changing experience, and I really can recommend it from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy the rest of the week, keep safe, be healthy, and we'll be in touch very, very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.